Good evening and welcome to Blueprint Explosive Exclusive. I'm Madhavdas G. It's day 13 of the war and there is a significant development emerging from the West Asia war zone. And this development directly impacts India's energy security. After talks between External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi on the 10th of March, as per sources, Iran has allowed India-linked tankers to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. Two vessels, Pushpak and Parimal, have been able to transit the strait safely, offering a measure of relief for New Delhi as the region remains gripped by conflict. Now, this development comes at a time when tensions across the Gulf are extremely high. The war involving Iran, Israel and the United States has sharply disrupted shipping activity, and vessels linked to the United States, Europe and Israel are reportedly facing restrictions in the waterway. For now, the Ministry of External Affairs has only confirmed that in the last conversation between External Affairs Minister Jaishankar and Iran's Foreign Minister Araghchi, issues pertaining to shipping and India's energy security were discussed.
External Affairs Minister and Foreign Minister of Iran have had three conversations in the recent days. The last one discussed issues pertaining to safety of shipping and India's energy security. Beyond that, it would be premature for me to say anything.
And there's also another example. A Liberian flag tanker carrying Saudi crude and captained by an Indian successfully crossed the strait earlier and has already berthed at the Mumbai port. Here's an exclusive ground report.
The first crude oil vessel headed to India since the Iran-US war began has now reached Mumbai after successfully passing through the conflict-hit Strait of Hormuz. The Liberia-flagged tanker Shenlong Suezmax carrying Saudi crude and captained by an Indian has safely berthed at the Mumbai port. From the crucial route, it has finally arrived in Mumbai. The vessel had loaded crude oil from Rajpanura port on March 1 and departed 2 days later for India. According to maritime tracking data, the tanker was last signaled inside the Strait of Hormuz on March 8. During the most sensitive part of the journey, the ship briefly went dark by switching off its AIS system, often used by vessels while navigating conflict-prone waters. The tanker reappeared on systems on March 9 after clearing the strait. After entering the Arabian Sea, the ship continued its journey toward...
All right, so that's a ship that has already come in from the Strait of Hormuz carrying Saudi crude, and there are two other ships at least that are also on their way. But what emerges from this development is the story of an independent diplomatic strategy that India is maintaining dialogue with all sides, balancing relationships carefully and also quietly working to ensure one critical objective, that is the uninterrupted flow of energy supplies into the country. Because in a region gripped by war, the Strait of Hormuz is one of the most important energy arteries in the world. And India's diplomacy right now is focused on keeping that artery open. But we've seen opposition which is still dismissive of India's diplomatic efforts. Listen in.
The basic issue is, from India's point of view, that how many Indian flag carriers or how many oil tankers carrying cargo for India are allowed to transit through the Straits of Hormuz.
I think we must stop doing this on the intervention of X and intervention of Y. The truth is, two ships manned by Indians and were heading towards India were brought down in Iran.
Numerous ships, including 38 Indian ships, are part of the blockade there. They have been lined up there. And his assurance, who will take it? He has already brought in shame and humiliation for this country. So nobody will take his words for reality.
On the other hand, Leader of Opposition in the Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, targeted the centre over reports of shortage in commercial LPG cylinders. He gave a notice to raise the matter on the LPG crisis in Parliament, and when he got an opportunity, here's what he said.
This is a very puzzling fact for me. It has been a very puzzling fact why a nation the size of India would allow any other nation, the president of another nation, to give us permission to buy Russian oil, to decide who our relationships are with. And I have figured the puzzle out. And the puzzle is about compromise. We have a gentleman sitting here who is the oil minister. He himself has said that he is a friend of Mr. Epstein.
All right, and Petroleum Minister Hardeep Singh Puri has given a statement in Parliament amidst the ruckus and informed the House about how India is securing its energy needs. But Leader of Opposition chose to leave the House. Listen in to what happened when Hardeep Puri spoke inside the House and what later Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiran Rijiju also said in response to Rahul Gandhi.
Honorable Speaker Sir, this is not the moment for rumour mongering or fake narratives. India is navigating the most severe global energy disruption in recorded history. Crude supply is flowing, gas is prioritized for homes and farms, LPG production has been stepped up by 28%. Consumer prices are held far below what makes markets and regional competitors and dictate. Schools are open. Petrol is on the forecourt. Every citizen, regardless of political affiliation, has a stake in that. India must stand united behind the energy warriors, behind the institution managing the crisis, and behind the national interest.
The Honourable Speaker, in consultation with the government, permitted Sri Rahul Gandhi as a special case to raise the issue of LPG. And we sought the time from Rahul Gandhi. We asked him, when are you convenient to speak? And he said he wants to speak at 4 o'clock. Even that time was granted to him as a special case. But he didn't speak about LPG case. He was talking about something else. He was attacking Prime Minister. This leader of opposition seems to be incorrigible. We are very helpless.
Let's take this across to our guest now. Joining us is Dr. Kaushalkant Mishra, spokesperson of BJP. We have Prabhu Dayal, former diplomat, with us. Dr. Akashdeep Muni, political analyst, is with us. Dr. Suman C. Raman, political analyst, is also joining us. Dr. Suman C. Raman, nobody will find fault with anyone, or least of all the leader of opposition or any opposition leader, for picking up the issue of LPG crisis. Of course, it's a burning issue. But to come out and say that this is directly linked to the Epstein crisis at a moment like this, at a moment where India has actually been able to use deft diplomacy to get its oil tankers out from the Strait of Hormuz, is that really a relevant point to be raising at this point in time, at this juncture in time? Suman C. Raman.
Look, Madhav, the issue is not this alone. It is not just about the LPG crisis. We are actually in a situation where we are having to seek another country's permission to buy oil from whoever we want to buy oil. And this has not been said once. It's been said by multiple members of the Trump administration, including the press secretary, including the energy secretary, including the revenue secretary. All of them are saying the same thing, that we have given 30 days permission. So there must be some reason, right? I mean, India is a sovereign country. We are a proud nation. So if we are, or our government is...
Did we ever stop buying Russian oil, Suman C. Raman?
No. 1 minute. I have not come across an official rebuttal saying that we do not require permission from any country to buy oil from whoever we wish. I have not come across. If you have come
the
across,
government statement. See, I'll tell you, the government statements of India. I'm going by what Indian government is saying, and the BJP spokesperson can come in on that. The Indian position has clearly been that we have continued to buy Russian oil. Has that not been the case?
Please, Madhav, please give me the statement where they have said we do not require, because this is coming
the stated position of government is that we don't need anyone's permission. All right, let the BJP spokesperson respond to you.
Where is it said
let the
they don't need anyone's permission?
I think it has been said multiple times.
Who has said it? Show me.
The Ministry of External Affairs has said so. Kaushalkant Mishra, why is the government not making its position clear, says Suman C. Raman? What is the stated position of the Ministry of External Affairs?
Madhav, I cannot teach the diplomacy how it should be run. It should be done by our External Affairs Ministry. My friend wanted the statement. I am clearly saying that we are buying crude oil from Russia, and it is more than what we are buying in the past, and now it is going to increase. So what other countries' president or somebody is saying? Why that is relevant for you? You should believe in your own president and your own prime minister and your own external affairs ministry. But you are trying to believe on some other country. It's your choice, your will and your wish. I can't say about that.
Can I, Madhav?
Yeah.
Why not we put out the data regarding purchase of oil from Russia over the last 6 months?
Yes, please show the data.
Correlated with the tariffs, when the tariff was put in, and then when Trump said, yes, they have reduced or stopped buying Russian oil, and therefore they are now behaving themselves or something to that equivalent. Then
I think the data is out there, but nevertheless, it's a valid question. I'm allowing your question. Kaushal Kant Mishra, respond to Sumant, and then I go across to other panelists. Quick response.
Madhav, I will ask your PCR, please take out the data for last 10 years. So that it can be shown to whole country and this gentleman also. Because the topic was different, so that I don't have the data. And give me time, I will show you the data.
Well,
10 years PCR, record.
Well, on a lighter note, if a PCR can conjure up graphics, I mean, they are not yet connected with, Grok AI or any other AI where they can suddenly pop up all those graphics. But let me get in Mr. Prabhu Dayal. Now, Mr. Prabhu Dayal, you will also agree Sumant C. Raman is somebody who knows a thing or two about diplomacy more than any of us on the panel. What is the stated position, Mr. Prabhu Dayal? Have we succumbed to US pressure, as is being cited by Mr. Rahul Gandhi and Sumant C. Raman, echoing that point of view? What is the stated position of the Ministry of External Affairs? Mr. Dayal.
Well, first of all, let me make it very clear that I'm no longer part of government. I'm independent. And I observe like anybody else, and I have reached my conclusions. Now, Trump had been pressurizing India to stop buying Russian oil. And there were a number of statements that were made by people from his administration. But India never even once said that it is going to stop buying. In fact, India continued to buy. I understand from media reports that there was a reduction in the amount purchased from Russia, but there was no stoppage whatsoever. Trump plays to his gallery. He plays to his support base. He tries to show how important he is globally and how everybody listens to him. So he kept on repeating all this because he was playing to the gallery in his country. Now, we have pursued an independent policy, and there are difficult times that we are going through because of this crisis that has erupted. And I'm sure that we should stand united. This is not a time for political division. There is a time and place for everything. This is the time when the country must stand together and overcome this very, very difficult situation. Because if we are a divided lot, then I'm afraid that we will not be doing as well as we would if we stand united.
All right, let me bring in fact, Dr. Akashdeep Muni. Dr. Akashdeep Muni, do you agree with Mr. Prabhu Dayal when he says that this is a time not for politics, it's a time for India to stand united? There is, of course, an issue which is beyond India's borders and beyond our control to that extent. And it is a fact that we have been able to get at least 3 tankers out of the Strait of Hormuz. Perhaps there are more. So the question that remains is that isn't this a moment for India to be standing one and at least to some extent applauding our diplomacy for having worked in the favor of Indians? Your response, Dr. Muni.
No, I totally agree with you that India should stand united. There are 28 tankers waiting in the Strait of Hormuz, and we should take them out. But see, Madhav Ji, today Rahul Gandhi, specifically on LPG crisis, highlighted a real crunch in our country. While BJP said no shortage, the government should be informative. The government should not lie. Mumbai, Bangalore, Chennai, Kolkata, Hyderabad, Delhi, many restaurants reported commercial 19 kg cylinders unavailable. 20% of Mumbai eateries are shut now. Bangalore Hotel Association has written letters confirming operations threatened. Now, this all is happening. I request the government should at least inform the people rightly, not lie. Black marketing has started. Cylinders are being sold at 2,000 to 4,500 rupees in
What
Delhi,
is the
Mumbai.
specific lie? What is the specific lie? Why are you saying the government has lied? Tell us.
The government said that there is no shortage. If BJP says there is no shortage, then why domestic gas price has been hiked by 60 rupees recently?
Okay. Kaushalkant Mishra, has the government been economical with the truth? Have you lied, as Dr. Akashdeep Muni says? Because why is there so much of chaos when it comes to LPG, particularly when it comes to restaurants in different cities across the country? Your response?
Madhav, first of all, I have shown the data. It is capless data. My friend can go and check on the Google, and it is clearly showing that there is a rise in the Russian oil buying by the India. So please go through the fact and then come. And about Mr. Muni, if the Rahul Gandhi is not trying to understand, how the Muni will, Dr. Muni will understand. So Rahul Gandhi is on the same line. He wants to always criticize anything whatsoever is done by the Modi government, whether it is good for country or bad for country. They will follow the same line, whatever is there in their mind. मैं ये कहना चाहता हूं कि एक आदमी अगर सोने का नाटक कर रहा हो तो उसको जगाया नहीं जा सकता. अगर कोई सो रहा है तो उसे ही जगाया जा सकता है. तो राहुल गांधी सोने का नाटक कर रहे हैं, कांग्रेस सोने का नाटक कर रही है, उनको कोई दिशा नहीं दिखाया जा सकता. सारे फैक्ट पार्लियामेंट में रखे गए हैं. मैं एक एक फैक्ट बोल सकता हूं. आप देखिए, स्ट्रेट ऑफ हॉर्मूज से केवल 30% ऑयल लिया, 70% दूसरी जगह से लिया जा रहा. अदर ऑप्शंस डेवलप किए जा रहे हैं. हमारे यहां पे 5 दिनों में 28% एलपीजी गैस का प्रोडक्शन बढ़ाया गया. बायोफ्यूल मास से प्रोडक्शन बढ़ाने की कोशिश हो रही है. क्राइसिस आई है तो उसको डील करने के लिए गवर्नमेंट हर एस्पेक्ट पे काम कर रही है. बट इंस्टेड ऑफ सेइंग यस इट इज गुड टाइम country to be remain united, even opposition and party should come together, but they are always trying to criticize at the time of crisis, whether it is COVID, whether it is China crisis, whether it is Pahalgam, whether it is Pulgama, and today this is a crisis
Dr.
of
Muni,
Hormuz also.
I want Dr. Muni to respond to that. Dr. Muni, one of the points that he just made is what the Union Petrol Minister also made in Parliament, that petrol production is, that LPG production, I beg your pardon, has been stepped up by around 25%. If that is indeed the case, do you have reason to disbelieve the minister?
Yes. I have said that there is a shortage. And I have given you a fact that recently the price hike has happened, and the Kaushalkant Mishra did not deny it. Now, talking about opposition is not fear-mongering, sir. Facts are India's dependence on imported crude oil has grown during the Modi government. 2014 में 77% हमारा डिपेंडेंस था, आज 88% डिपेंडेंस है. यही हॉर्मुज वाले ऑयल जहां से तेल आता है. You know, strategic petrol reserves are still critically low. USA में 90 डेज तक है, चाइना में 80 डेज तक है, इंडिया में सिर्फ 9 दिन तक है. अगर पेट्रोल बाहर से आना रुक गया, सिर्फ 9 दिन तक हमारे पास स्ट्रेटेजिक पेट्रोलियम रिजर्व्स है. दिस इज कंसर्निंग. डोमेस्टिक ऑयल प्रोडक्शन हैज डिक्लाइन. 2014 में डोमेस्टिक क्रूड ऑयल प्रोडक्शन 37 मिलियन टन होता था घर में हमारे. आज 2023 में प्रोडक्शन 29 to 30 मिलियन हो रहा है. मतलब कम हो गया, 37 से 30 हो गया. और ये सोर्स गवर्नमेंट सोर्स है, डायरेक्टरेट ऑफ जनरल ऑफ हाइड्रोकार्बन्स, ये वहां से मैं डेटा दे रहा हूं. सो इवन स्ट्रेटेजिक रिजर्व नॉट फिल्ड व्हेन ऑयल वाज एक्सट्रीमली चीप. याद है आपको 2010 तरफ कितना चीप था, $20 पर बैरल. उस समय फिल कर लेते स्ट्रेटेजिक पेट्रोलियम रिजर्व्स.
I think there's a lot of questions over there. Global prices are also dynamic, Akashdeep Muni. It depends on a number of factors. But I will bring in Mr. Prabhu Dayal on one important factor. Mr. Prabhu Dayal, the point that is being raised by many is this, that yes, there are about 28 ships stuck in the Strait of Hormuz. Some opposition leaders, you would have heard them before we started the debate, have said that 2 tankers where Indians were there were also, amongst those who were impacted, which were struck, and of course, in some cases, Indians also losing their lives. The question is that A, how will the government ensure the safety of all of those who are stuck there? And B, how will we ensure uninterrupted supply of gas? Because beyond crude oil, the bigger concern is how we're going to deal with the supply of gas, which is the big challenge with Qatar and other gas providing countries being hugely impacted.
Well, it's a big challenge, as you said, because this is an extraordinarily difficult situation. We have a conflict of an enormous dimension taking place there. And the Strait of Hormuz is very, very directly impacted. So it's a very critical situation. The government, as I understand, is trying to establish contacts with other governments in that region. And I understand that Prime Minister and External Affairs Minister have spoken to the people who matter, like the emirs, the sheikhs, the crown princes of the respective countries, and have tried to work out arrangements for the ships which are stranded in the Persian Gulf to be able to leave through the Strait of Hormuz. And I think the Iranians have given an assurance, but they've also said that each particular ship will have to obtain a specific permission, because otherwise it may not be able to transit. So I think some systems have been brought in place, and there are some arrangements that are taking place. And the idea is to be able to enable all these stranded ships to come out through the Strait of Hormuz and come back to India safely along with their personnel. But as I said, these are extraordinarily difficult times. We have to be patient. We have to hope for the best, because even if the Iranian government gives an assurance, it can't be 100% certain that nothing untoward takes place. But as I see it, things are looking better after the External Affairs Minister spoke to his Iranian counterpart, and 2 of our ships have already been able to transit through the Strait of Hormuz. So I think it's very important to, stay united, not be a broken up nation, but we should realize that the nation faces very difficult times. And
important for us to be united, says Mr. Prabhu Dayal, Sumansi Raman, not to appear divided. Your response?
Very simple. My point is, look, all those hoteliers who are agitating and giving statements in different cities are all not opposition politicians. They have a business problem. They are not able to continue operations. So the first step is to accept that, yes, we don't have a problem with domestic LPG supply, but we do have a problem with commercial LPG supply. Now you're saying that, no, we are fully comfortable. There is no problem. There is no problem. That is the problem. Second, this on the issue of Russian crude, data says it dropped. The imports from Russia of crude dropped to their 44-month low in January. Now, of course, from yesterday they've ordered another 30 million because permission has been given for 30 days. So 30 million barrels have now been ordered, and it should be ordered because we will face a problem otherwise. My point is very clear, Madhav. The first step which is needed is to accept that there is a problem.
I don't think that anybody on this panel is saying there's no problem. Sumansi Raman, it's a fact that Strait of Hormuz is blocked. It's a fact that oil tankers haven't moved for about 10 days, and now they've finally started moving. There is no question. There is no question. I don't think even the BJP spokesperson will say there's no challenge. But yes, the important point is how we deal with that challenge, how we secure the interest of 140 crore Indians to ensure that whatever best solution is possible comes and arrives at Indian ports so that it can be distributed and the issues are minimized to the very least, given that India is dependent on at least 50% of its energy requirements from the Strait of Hormuz itself. We'll have to leave it there. Dr. Kaushalkant Mishra, Prabhu Dayal, Dr. Hardeep Muni, as well as Sumansi Raman. Thanks so much for joining us this evening.